So just to frame it, the way I define, marketing and lead generation is getting people to the point where they raise their hand and go, I have that problem and I'm looking to solve it. And then sales takes over. Then you have a lead, and sales takes over from turning a lead into dollars. How have your investments changed over time in these pieces? If you look back 5 years, where were you spending your money on marketing?
We did some pretty stupid things and probably wasted some money. We did a billboard ad that didn't work at all. We tried some various newspaper type things, publications that didn't really work. Even tried a manufacturer's guide to a local business paper and gotten zero leads out of that. So I think that's good for identifying your brand and kind of getting your brand out there, but for getting leads, not so much.
There were some things that just weren't high, turnaround, but they were good value and were still helping us get from cold to warm for some of the people we were meeting with, like a print newsletter. I still want to get back to that, but not monthly, maybe quarterly. Telemarketing. When I first joined one peer group about 10 years ago, I misunderstood and I thought they were saying, go do telemarketing first. They were assuming we were doing everything else already and said, okay, this is how you do telemarketing. So we were starting with the 10% or less, potential, but, it still helped grow our business greatly.
Out of the gate, it was either me trying to handle, lead gen and marketing initiatives on my own, in addition to running the business and supporting my customers, which didn't work at all, had very little success. And then from there, I kind of jumped to finding like a part-time person to help that had marketing experience. And that also didn't help very much. And then ultimately, I learned that partnering with specialists and experts was the way to go.
What are your top 3 lead sources to generate prospects from right now?
Number one is definitely the warm list that we've spent a very long time taking from a cold list to a warm list. That's definitely the top one. And then after that, it's everything, and we can talk more details about each of them, but we're doing the email campaigns with Nerdwise. We're doing some LinkedIn initiatives, direct targeted lead connections there, both in a more structured fashion and some more in just manual, one connection, deep decision maker in our market at a time.
Referrals was always a huge thing for us, and that's still huge. And so getting our engineers to talk about other products and services we have, and also finding out referrals from the clients while they're working with them. We started Nerdwise about 6 months ago. That's been huge for us. And then the other top one is Google AdWords, putting those in and targeting those to specific areas for decision makers that we want.
I've noticed just being proactive, either via email marketing, number one on LinkedIn, posting, connecting with people, talking with folks. I've also done some webinars that have helped with lead gen.
What are the keys for you that you found in your sales process that helps keep it organized and keep it strong? And maybe what have you wished you learned sooner?
Let's say a lead comes in and it came in from Nerdwise, and we're going to go out there for the first time. I go out myself personally with the engineer. I spend time then talking to the client while the engineer is looking over everything, doing kind of a review of their systems. We don't charge them for this visit. We consider it pre-sales. And then I'm asking lots of questions. In fact, when I started sales, I had a trainer who said he had us practice a round of questions. So you would practice just asking questions with somebody. Every time they would answer your question, you'd answer with another question. And that's good because you want to know as much information as you can from that client. And then we take all that information the engineer has put together and we tailor it so it looks for exactly what the customer's needs are, just like Charlie was saying. And that's what we focus on the presentation and sell them on our services at that point.
What I wish I would have learned sooner is that it's not about you and your service offering, no matter how good you think it is. It's really not about you or what your offer is. It's all about selling to their pain points, the customer's pain points. So now every opportunity I get, I have an initial phone call. I make sure to very clearly pull out from them exactly what their pain points are and write those down and highlight them and bold them. And then I make a sales deck. And the most important piece of the sales deck is, here are your pain points specifically. and this is how I'm going to solve those pain points. And since I've switched that mindset, I'll say I feel like I'm like Michael Jordan. I can't miss a shot.
They believe 100% of what they say, but 30% of what you're saying across from them. So that's where asking questions to get the same point across as telling them. It's like, well, you should do this. It's like, well, how big of a deal is this to you? And so what? So what if that happens? Do you really think that just throwing a little bit of a different name, different logo at this is going to solve it? I reaffirm every time I'm walking into a sales conversation, it's like, I'm going to help you today. And if Groff Networks can help you after today, that's great. Yes is good and no is okay too. But my whole goal here is to give you something that you can take today. And so even as we're marketing to that conversation, it's like, you're going to get something valuable out of it. And they know that I'm there. I'm there to build relationship, and then I'm there to leave something of value. And even when we come down to a competitive situation, it's like, I'm going to give you some pieces that are going to help you decide, even if it's not in our favor.
We looked into what you've done in the past that didn't work. We looked at what you're doing right now that's working. Let's look into the future.
I think obviously Nerdwise is sponsoring this. However, we just let our agreement go back for another 6 months. It's working. It's great. We've gotten a lot of leads for it. It's paid for itself. So I don't anticipate changing that in the least bit. That's been great. As far as our online presence, the Google AdWords, what we found is a lot of tweaking is in store in that. It's just not throw out a Google ad and then they come. So we continue to refine that this year, and then also increase our online presence with Facebook and other LinkedIn and other areas as well.
Obviously, the economy is going to tick up, and just having yourself well positioned to be out in front of as many people as you can, generate as many leads as you can as the economy hopefully ticks up. It should be a buyer's market, and partnering with a company like Nerdwise or similar who is experts at doing these types of things, that's where I'm certainly going to focus my attention. It's
a great time, regardless of the pandemic. Like, just the maturity of small and medium businesses and organizations is there. The executives are seeing the value to bring it to the board table, to the executive decision making level, which means if you have a higher value service offering than competitors around you, then put the right foot down.